Hey all, despite a big portion of my channel being dedicated to Doom Eternal speedruns, tech, and challenges, it came to me that I never made a video that was exclusively focused on the best speedrun in FPS gaming, the 100% Ultra Nightmare speedrun. I skirted the lines of this to only talk about one level at a time, or in relation to Anthology Challenge Run, but I never gave it the limelight, which, to a lot, might be considered a travesty. Because when you played Doom Eternal casually, you probably had the thought of, wow, the combat is so deep, I'd like to learn more. And then when you see the speedrun, you probably also had the thought, whoa, this movement is so deep, I'd like to learn more. The combat was finely crafted by id to have as much room for growth as the player wants, and the movement is just the same way, although definitely not intended. That being said, the reason why the game has so much sick tech is from all these glitches from how the game was programmed. That's why most runners won't run glitchless, because it removes most of the depth that is possible in this game. Also, it's been 5 years, and the closest I've seen to a petition is a YouTube comment by people who don't run the game nor plan to. That's why we have the category of no major... we call it restricted. Restricted exists because despawning enemy encounters in order to clear them is a touch... disappointing, but meat hooking across the map to grab a collectible is fucking awesome, both of which is glitch behavior, but the level skip gives me the happy tinglies. So we banned all the quote boring crap unquote and kept most of the weirdly awesome stuff. This game may be programmed with thoughts and prayers rather than ones and zeros, but goddamn does not make for one of the most enticing speedruns to watch, play, and analyze. So I combined all three of these components, where I broke down the current speedrun world record live on stream, giving my perspective as a former runner, speedrun board moderator, and a genuine fan of the run. Special thanks to the current record holder, AbsoluteMassive, who let me make something like this using his run as the basis of the video. And without further ado, let's just get into it. I almost held world record back when world record was around a 220. Fast forward to today, where world record sits at a 137. You have to have the great movement, you have to have the great combat, you have to have everything down to a minute detail. Like if you asked a Doom Eternal speedrunner, like, hey, I'm running 100% Ultra Nightmare, what's a good time? Almost every runner unequivocally would say sub 2 hours. The world record sits at a 137. That means there's 22 minutes of difference between what people would consider a good time over where world record is. Now, I think this is something important to touch upon, because a lot of people be like, wow, 22 minutes slower than world record, you must suck. When no, Doom Eternal is just that hard of a run. Sub 2 hours can be a great-ass time, and you can go 22 minutes beyond that. Like, it's not that Super Saiyan 2 is weak, it's just that Super Saiyan 3 is that much stronger, you know? Is 2 hours a good time, or are you just washed? Yes. What's the runner doing here? They're loading in. Great question. Have a comment, why can't we skip the Novik intro? Okay, so we don't allow skip of the Novik intro, because in order to skip it, we have to download a mod, and mods are illegal for speedrunning, because if you have a modded client of the game, you could be modding everything else. How is the runner shooting the gun? Wow, my chat just has the best questions. I'm really glad that you need a top-tier speedrunner like me to explain to you how the runner shoots the gun. No, but back onto this encounter. This encounter every speedrunner hates because this encounter is completely random. You see this enemy spawning in here? That's random. It could spawn in here, under here, over there. All this is just quick reaction time from flipping to one enemy spawn to another, back and forth, until, like, you get it done. You reset if you just get inoptimal patterns here. So, 157. Anything under a minute going through that door is considered a really great time, if you ask me, back when I ran this. Why is the runner moving? Because you need to get to the end of the speedrun. It's that simple. How's the runner double jump? Guys, quit asking basic questions. We're here to get to the nitty-gritty, not the how do you press buttons. How is the runner breathing? How do you start the... Shut up, people. Small thing. Nobody would notice this, except for me. You need a top-tier brain. Like, only hundreds and thousands of hours of speedrunning can get you a very small mistake happen here that Massive could probably improve for his next time. You see, as he's bunny hopping here, he doesn't shoot the bell. I'm pretty sure he makes up for it later. You can't even afford to shoot the bell anymore? Wait, I thought that was just... I was just making a joke. Are you kidding? Like, you straight up don't have the ammo for your routing necessary to shoot the bell? If the routing can't afford the bell, the routing's wrong. You see, Sniper Dolphin, I'm convinced, is correct there. Maybe you should relook. Is the automap not in 100%? Automap is not tracked in any menu or anything in this game. So that means that we don't have to pick it up. Take that up with the id developers, not us. Very quickly, punch boosting. Like, you get a melee lunge to, like, make up the distance between you and the enemy. But if you interrupt that melee lunge, you can keep the speed because fuck you, that's how the game works. So you can kind of see Endless Spider. It has like a turret and a body. It turns out this turret will not block your movement. You can go through that, but it still like triggers your punch boost. So what we do is we just basically angle upwards at the turret. Our feet barely hit the corpse hitbox, and that's what cancels our movement lock for the punch boost. And you're able to take that speed and do something like this. Which, my god, that's sexy as fuck. A punch boost is triggered by melee lunge. There's nothing to melee here. Back in an alpha build of the game, this was a breakable wall, you know, where you had to punch it to get through. They removed the wall, but for some reason, the punchable collision still kind of exists. Yeah, see? Isn't this video going to be 10 hours long if you pause every time something cool happens? Yeah, do you have a problem with this stream being 10 hours long? Let's go. Okay. Oh, I forgot about this. So you want to know what's cool as fuck here is that this is a precise time punch boost. So like I said, melee lunge triggers when you punch at something. He's going to kill this thing at the near same time he punches it, which allows him to basically get the punch boost speed, but because he doesn't make contact, bam. And he just times that with the sticky explosion. Ah, it's just cool, dude. Is this done on an older version of the game? Yes. Okay, good question. You see this 1.1 parentheses MF. Eternal is a freaking broken game, to put it succinctly, people. So we have a speedrun utility, basically to help with small things such as bunny hops, FPS limiting, and other quality of life things to make sure it's a fair and even playing field for every runner who runs this on PC. As part of that, because, you know, we are also making the game fair, why not put some verification tools in it? This 1.1 right here tells us the current patch. Patch 1.1. This is the first patch of the game, basically. id Software patched out some speedrun tech, some strats in later patches, so we just down-patched the game. Why do they not run release? It's all preference. Like, you'd have to ask the runners themselves on why they don't run a release. Everyone has a different reason for it. But if you want the quick answer, it's slower. Release is also buggier? True. So it's harder in some aspects. Well, the cool thing this year is this punch boost off this wall and keeping all that speed. You don't realize how much of a pain was it before that punch boost was discovered, because we just had to rely on bunny hops. Thing about bunny hop gaining speed that I haven't mentioned. If you jump the first frame you hit the ground on a bunny hop, you get no additional speed. You have to jump on the second or third or fourth frame you hit, like, the ground in order to get that speed boost. So you're trying not to aim for right as you hit the ground. You're aiming for slightly after you hit the ground, which kind of fucks up your internal timer just a touch. All right, first rune, pickup. Obviously, it's air control. Air control just gives you increased air acceleration, which makes everything just easier movement-wise. You're able to round corners faster. You're able to conserve momentum better. It's just quick. You might be seeing why he's punching after every precision bolt. That's just a thing called punch swapping. Think of it this way. This game resets your weapon cooldown when you swap to another weapon, and the game considers your fist another weapon. So if you basically swap to a weapon while your fist is out, it counts as like a hot swap. It's one of the most niche things that we use just to fire a precision bolt just slightly faster. Just appreciate this. Punch boost. Bunny hop. Look at this precise air control. Grabbing the battery to grab the... Dude... How does that not put, like, happy chemicals into your brain? This is how we test for sociopathy, people. We show them a clip of that, and if they feel nothing, you have something wrong with you. Into the asylum you go. And you can see like, from just small movement sections like this, where this is why Doom Eternal is, like, the best game, or one of the best games for speedrunning or whatnot. You get that satisfying, like, you can always continue your movement and chain it into something else. Oh, does he do the punch boost here? Oh, please do the punch boost here. Punch boost off the corpse of the Kako, straight in, man. God, it's so fluid, I love it. That's what she... I guess I don't mention dash boost. Dash boosting kind of works the same way as punch boosting, where if you interrupt it midway, you basically get to keep your dash speed in the same way of punch boost. It's just, you gotta hit like a type of collision and it's fine. Oh, wait. This is my routing right here. Grabbing this page after that door, I discovered it. It's the one thing that's still part of the round. Wait, I didn't see this. He does what's called like a variation of a dash boost here called an edge boost. So you may notice FPS here is 33 FPS. Now, what a lot of runners do is they bind movement back to scroll wheel down. So what he does, limits FPS to 33 because your motion in this game is tied to your frame rate. Most of the physics is tied to your frame rate in this game. And then he clicks this mouse wheel 3 times or twice, depending on the setup, to get a perfect position for an edge boost, which is a dash boost off the corner of a slope. And then he uses that speed to get a bunch of height, get a lurch chop off that for even more speed to come out of that door at top speed. Ah, it's sexy. Cheats? I think it's cheats too, MMA, but it's also awesome as hell. I don't like frame rate limiting. It's a little weird in this category, but hey, it's how the category was run. So ramp. Oh, whoa, wait, hold on. Moments before another big trick here. Give me a second. A ramp hop, basically, when you go at a speed into a slope, the game basically transfers your speed along the slope and then it applies friction. But if you jump right before it applies friction, well, you get your speed in the diagonal direction of the slope plus your jump height. That's a ramp hop. And then punch boost? Ah, dude, that is sick as fuck, man. People said if I had to pause this for every cool shit that happened, we'd be here for 10 hours. We might. See right there, he scrolled a bit too much, so he was just constantly ramp hopping and wasn't able to get to the spot where he could dash boost to get that key. Actually, I think what goes on there is something slightly different. You won't notice this just by watching it. You only notice this from inputs. That's a Zai boost, where it's basically you chain a ramp hop and a dash boost at the same time. Yeah, no, if you thought the techs were just on their own, no, you can combine several Doom Eternal speedrunning techs into one trick and make it something completely different and more powerful. Part of the reason why people love the speedrun. You learn something, it's a new tool in your toolkit to go faster. And how to get out of the purple after the crystal? Good question. So, okay, so purple goo normally locks your movement. If you try to jump, it'll be like, you get like a and then you go immediately back down. That takes actually a bit amount of time. So if you scroll jump as fast as possible, you constantly get the upwards part of your jump until you're out of the purple goo zone, able to jump away. Cheats? A little. What you gotta understand, people, is that what Doom Eternal speedrunning, we kind of allow quote-unquote cheating for the sake of a good run. Like, scroll to jump normally isn't too accessible. Like, for example, consoles can't bind scroll to jump, but we, on PC, because we can manipulate all our keybinds with console commands and whatnot, we just allow full, like, basically reprogramming of your keyboard / mouse, whatever. This Slayer gate is actually super optimized. The first encounter is a bunch of fodder clear, so basically stickies, grenades, heat blast, blah, 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 precision bolts. The whole meat of this encounter comes in the second phase when the Dread Knight and Revenant spawn. We're gonna end this encounter early, and Massive is just looking at a precise area to get this Dread Knight to spawn consistently, so he can chainsaw him and instantly end the encounter. Now, the clear condition from that encounter, all demons are dead, so if we kill all the enemies in the second wave before the third wave spawns, we met the clear condition for the encounter. All enemies are dead. It doesn't matter that more are about to spawn. The clear condition's met. We're out of here. This is something we call chain hop, which is one of the most difficult bunny hop chains in the whole thing. We're gonna change a dash boost for our initial speed. Try to carry that all the way to the island. Look, one. Bam. Oh, got a bad hop there, but is still able to save it. Still able to save it. Barely gets through the death plane. That was a nail biter. Can you explain the times on the site? Oh, yeah. So if you look at the timer here, we do in-game time, meaning any time in the loading screens is not counted for the full timer. And the reason why we do this is because people's PCs have different hardwares. So it isn't really fair to judge somebody as a faster time because they have a better PC, so they load quicker. So we remove loading times so that these games are not pay to win as possible. Unfortunately, because Doom Eternal has all its physics tied to frame rate, like in the top left, you'll see we're running at 250. This game will just naturally be pay to win in some aspects because it's just physics-based. We try to lower the amount of pay to winness as low as possible. Every PC game basically cuts out loading screen times. If I was moderator, if I was speedrunning god, it could dictate what every speedrunner has to do by my arbitrary rule set, I'd say we probably should have limited the FPS to 200. It'd be a little bit more fair on people's PCs. Because this game, there are some sections that are so unoptimized, like you'd be lucky to get 120 FPS. Regardless, 250. We have so much history that exists with that previous cap, it doesn't make sense to lower it now. So it's just something to keep in mind for Dark Ages if we get that again. We're on to Cultist Space. Cultist Space is the most hated level in any Doom speedrun, just letting you all know. Basically, this level is like the definition of micro-optimization after micro-optimization after micro-optimization. Like, look at that. Okay. One small thing you'll see here that I haven't touched on is there's this technique with the plasma rifle called yeet blasting, which, yes, great name. You can fire the heat blast multiple times. For whatever reason, like if you swap weapons away as you heat blast, the game gets in a state of confusion where it's like, oh, hey, I don't know if we fired the heat blast before. Why don't we just fire it again? And you can fire it up to 4 times when doing that. Like, look at this. Bam. He just hit the Arachnotron like 3 times with the heat blast. Oh, dude, he does a little quick manipulation of the frame rate to like 31 FPS, scrolls back a little, sets up an edge boost so that he can just go through this door at top speed as it's atop the gate. You asked me if we could get that little door area optimized back then, I'd be like, no, it's basically there. Then there's some, you know, cracked out nerds here with their frame rate limiting, their binding movement to scroll into an edge boost, and it's just like, yeah, no, we could save time. Here's the thing, to save that, like, extra second on that movement section required 3 extremely complicated steps. Oh, punch boost, by the way. Into there, nice. In case you're wondering, that punch boost strat saves no time. It's about equivalent to bunny hopping through it. It's just runners do that because it's more consistent than bunny hopping. Oh, one small thing that nobody will ever notice, but it's something that makes me happy every time. He chainsaws this last enemy. So, an enemy is considered dead at the start of a chainsaw animation, not at the end, at the start. This is different from glory kills. Most glory kills are dead at the end of the animation. So because we have to wait for like the door unlock button to, you know, trigger, chainsaw for the insta-kill, and then while the button is triggering, we're getting that ammo. So in other words, we're losing no time from this chainsaw animation. I'm gonna state this now so I don't have to state it later. Most encounters in this game are basically just memorization. Memorize where all the enemies spawn, memorize what type of enemies spawn, and memorize what they're likely to do after they spawn. In case you're wondering, he's like, oh my goodness, this is so much unadulterated skill. It's like, no, this isn't an adulterated skill. You at home could do this. You just gotta get flashcards of enemy spawns and just memorize them. And then you can probably do this just as well. That being said, execution is still hard. But no, the hardest part is just getting into memory. A lot of people like to put like people like AbsoluteMassive, a bunch of speedrunners, all that stuff on a pedestal that they're so much better. No, they just have a lot more time. Most people at home could do this if they want. It's just how much time do you want to dedicate? In the case of AbsoluteMassive, they just dedicated like 1,500 hours to learning nothing but this route. Probably a lot more. Probably in something about like 2,000 to 3,000 if I had to guess. Lock-on burst is the most OP thing for the early part of the game because 3 rockets kills nearly everything in one shot. Well, in one burst. So this encounter is just spawn camping as many things as possible with lock-on burst. Like that Kako, this Revenant, that Arachnotron, this Whiplash. Freeze it so that we don't have to rocket it so we can serve for this Hell Knight. Eat Blast to kill those soldiers. Oh, the Whiplash lived. Unfortunate. Get a chainsaw while a Mancubus is spawning and a Revenant is spawning, just so that we can lock on them instantly. And just like that, the encounter's over. Oh! The edge... Are you fucking me? So normally the strat is that we would set up on top of this fence where my mouse is, and we would dash as the cutscene ends. This triggers a strat known as cut speed. Basically, the cutscene interrupts the dash mid-dash, so we get to keep that speed afterwards. But AbsoluteMassive says fuck this, and instead does an edge boost to get as close to the door as possible and have as much height as possible, and then dash boost as the cutscene's happening at the door. Boost. This punch boost is called Moroccan Spice Chicken with Toasted Vegetables. And see, you can see from that boost, obviously, why it's called that. How good you are at speedrunning is really dependent if you're unemployed or not. Hey, Joey, how about this? It's some people's employment to speedrun. Have you ever considered that? If you don't, Massive, he's killing it on Twitch and YouTube and whatnot. His runs get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. That correlates to hundreds of dollars. When he streams, he regularly gets over 100 viewers with subs, donations, and all that crap. Speedrunning is kind of his job. It's at least a part-time job in terms of income. Yeah, no, that's part of the reason why he could be so good, is because he is a little bit financially stable because he's good at speedrunning. So it's sort of like a self-feedback loop of you gotta be good enough to get enough viewers, enough subs and money and whatnot, so that you could dedicate more time to speedrunning, which means you could get more about it, and blah, 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 blah. That's kind of how the process works. Now, this is a notorious fight called Pit. Turns out you can get around doing this Pit fight. He's going to do this precise movement to get these two encounters spawned at once so that he can overlap them and thus save time because there's less waiting. All through this traversal, as he's bunny hopping through this damage things to hit this button, the first wave of the Pit fight is spawning. See, secret encounter, and then instantly drop back down. You can see the game even assumes that the floor will spawn there for a little bit, as you can see from those soldier animations. It's just super cool. And then yeet blast to kill most of the secret encounter. Why isn't there a glitchless category, streamer? What? That doubling up of encounter was possible because of a glitch. And you're telling me you want to do glitchless where they do that one encounter at a time, or would you rather them double up encounters and make it even harder with better routing? I don't know, dude. That is... I wouldn't change it. Did I make up a chatter to get that reply? Yes, I did. Did I make up a chatter for that reply? Yes, I did. Sometimes I just chat to myself. Normally, there's a death plane. However, it extends under the floor just a tiny bit, so we can use that to bonk our head to get teleported up an elevator. That it saves one cycle, which is about 5 seconds. How do any of these glitches get found? Trial error, a bunch of people in the community just trying to break the game and see what works, and a lot of time it's just getting lucky. And the precise thing here, fire the rocket, teleport in front of the rocket via the chainsaw, and the rocket takes out the other two as you're chainsawing, as the door to the end of the arena is opening, saving basically overlapping time. It's so sick, and I found that like 2 years ago, and nobody was doing it. I'm glad that people finally moved to my optimal routing. Don't look at every other part of my run that is unoptimal, though. I have to brace yourselves. This whole encounter got a new reroute, and it's sick as hell. I hope Massive gets it. So, Revenant dead. Oh, just use the cue ball. The cue ball's an insta-kill on the Rev. No, you'll see why we use it later. Meat hook down. Bunny hop. Okay, a little bit of slow movement. I still think they got it, though. It's a tight cycle, but there is a little wiggle room. And then cue ball into the Kako. Fucking hell, dude. This is so fast, you don't know how the runner stays oriented. Okay, this is the comparison I make in my mind. Everything complicated and the lights and the flashes and everything going on here is kind of equivalent to like an Overwatch match where everyone spams their ultimate at the same time. And it's just a bunch of bright colors coming and it's just mental stimulation of like, what the frick is even happening? This game just has that in a single-player speedrun environment. You'll blink and you'll miss it. What happens is the ground has like a little bit of magnetism to the player model, which will actually drag it down. This effect takes place like after you dash off the ground, which will pull you down slightly quicker, giving you slightly more speed, allowing him to get more speed off this Lurch Hop to go to the Slayer Gate key door. You wouldn't even notice that. You'd just think he just dashed and then jumped. But no, it's actually faster to dash off that ledge. So, instantly killed Mancubus, 3 rockets. Heat Blast to kill 3 soldiers, which will spawn in a Mancubus. Chainsaw while the Mancubus is spawning. We're waiting on the next wave, so this Mancubus is just going to be killed in the interim. Kako needs to die. This Kako needs to die. And now we're waiting for the third phase. Prowler's around. He's looking to kill the Prowlers. Gets both of them on top of him. Good luck, actually. And then it's just 2 more Arachnotrons, but they spawn kind of delayed, so he can spawn camp all of them. Oh, using a barrel to kill those imps just because he witnessed that. That's good reaction time and thinking. Sheesh. Massive really is on top of his game. All right, one small thing you'll see here. He'll limit FPS here. Now, this is a case of FPS limiting that I'm actually completely fine with for the sole purpose of that if you don't limit FPS here, the game fucks up. Spawn-in animations from enemies are FPS dependent, as with a lot of things in this game. So if we don't limit FPS here, this soldier will just like jump down to a different platform than what he's initially programmed to do. We think that this game was like quote-unquote spawn-in animations. Everything was normalized to 60 FPS for consoles. But we're running at 250, so 250 can fuck that up quite a bit because it's more than 4 times the amount of FPS, which means... So that's a meat hook. Small thing about meat hooking, you may be like, wait, why don't I get that much speed casually? The meat hook speed gain is FPS dependent, not to mention that if you hold a diagonal direction or a side direction while meat hooking, you get even more speed. That plus the FPS dependency and running the game at 250 FPS equals a fuck ton of speed. This game gets harder on 250 FPS. You bring up a great point, Swagfest. It gets harder and it gets easier. It's a double-edged sword. Some enemy attack animations are directly tied to FPS. Enemies like the Doom Hunter, Dread Knight, Zombie have some attacks that if you have at 250 FPS, they will teleport from 10 feet away to smack you nearly instantly. casually if you're playing this game. If you do it at 250 FPS, it's actually harder. But for a speedrunner, it's a give and take. Does he do the okay, this is gonna be super nerd people, super niche, but I don't care because I think this is cool. Does he do the Drakefo strat? No. Drakefos is rolling over in their grave. For those who don't know, this encounter, it has a very specific encounter wave progression trigger, which is Pinky needs to be damaged at a certain health threshold and Fodder Demon need to be killed, like within a timer. However, that damage threshold is actually different than the amount of damage the Pinky has taken because the Pinky has armor resistance on the front of its head. And the damage tracker does not account for armor resistance. So if you headshot this Pinky, and then as soon as you kill the fodders, it'll start the next wave. It's literally like a half a second time save, maybe. At most. But yeah, no, that's just how this game is. It's based on its hits actual damage. No, it is dependent on its damage. It's just the damage for the wave trigger just doesn't account for armor reduction. That's the TLDR. Only auto map required to be picked up in the game, by the way. Because this is the only one that's tracked. It's a level challenge to pick this up. Not to mention, I guess it's an important thing. Combat rating. You may be noticing that he's ignoring demons. That's just because not every demon is tracked by the game. But no, there are some people who like to play with every enemy dead and then just complete the game in one sitting. It's just that most speedrunners don't want to, because if there's demons we don't have to kill and demons we do have to kill, we get a good optimization mix of movement and combat. That just makes for a more diverse run, which a lot of people just find enjoyable. If we required every demon to be trilled, that opens the can of worms of how do we fucking track that? Some enemies will literally just spawn infinitely. How do we account for when spawns are infinite? Do we just sit in the arena for forever, killing everyone? Stuff like that. So to ignore it, we only do with what the demonic corruption meter tracks for 100%. So there are 3 runes that are optimal for the speedrun. We have to pick up every rune, but we only keep 3 equipped because these are just the most optimal. Air control, as previously discussed, just increases your movement speed, makes every level undeniably way faster just from movement speed. Blood fueled, which gives us bonus speed after glory kills. This is just free time save in literally every way because there are required glory kills. It applies after chainsaws, yada yada. So why not just take free speed after it? And then this faster glory kills. There are required glory kills, as said, and it'd be really nice if those were speed up. Every other rune in this game, it's just they're not really time save. Like, oh, increased stagger time on demons. We kill them all instantly anyhow. It doesn't matter if they're in glory kill for an extra seconds. Equipment power. It would be nice to have some equipment up earlier. However, typically we're able to just route around it because grenades and ice bombs, like, despite being nice and helpful, they don't really save that much time in comparison to just doing things faster. Okay, fun fact about this cutscene. This cutscene is so demonstrably long that we've actually tried to reroute Doom Hunter base to try to get rid of this cutscene. But it turns out the extra movement that routing required was just slower than watching the cutscene. So here we are. Isn't there a despawn trigger route too? Yeah, you bring up a good thing, Zeus, here. So right here, you see this kind of red wall? Right beyond that is a despawn trigger. Every level has despawn triggers in this game. So basically, like, if demons are spawned in previous sections of the level because, like, you just missed them, or you didn't completely clear an arena, or for whatever reason, the game has these triggers to make sure they're despawned to free up memory for future encounters so they can spawn more things in, have better resources, the game run better, etc., etc., etc. So you can literally, you see this little dash boost here? We can just meat hook off an enemy and go to the exact same spot, hit the despawn trigger, and completely clear the arena. However, this category restricted here, that's Doom Eternal's equivalent of no major glitches. One of those glitches that we say is like, if you despawn any encounter that gives you combat rating, we consider that a major glitch as per purposes of this rule set. So, in case you're wondering, we would despawn them because it's faster and makes that encounter more consistent, but we ban them because we held a vote a long time ago and runners just didn't find that fun. So meat hooking gives you a lot of speed depending on FPS and if you're holding the side direction. Now, because it's FPS dependent, if you are down to slow down time, basically the game runs at the same frame rate, but per less in-game time, allowing more frames for a certain in-game action. The function that adds speed is just adding it continuously during the time slow, which allows speed like this. Whee! And just like that, we're at the end of the level. And then we go back to here, and then we go right back. Those both hooks save about 7 seconds. Oh, by the way, he also had to keep in mind his positioning during that whole time where he went because of this Kako right here. If you get your movement slightly wrong or whatever, this Kako won't be in this place, which will not allow for this meat hook. So, in case you're wondering, oh, it's just traversing the level twice at high supersonic speeds. No, it's also Kako manipulation. So, he's not just jumping around here because it's fun. He's keeping the high speed from the meat hook and just buying enough time as possible to keep that speed going through the door as it opens so he doesn't have to start from 0 speed. You want to know, like, how all that complex movement, like, how much time that saves? It's on the order of, like, 1 to 2 seconds. But you got to keep in mind, every level has a section like that. Every part has, like, something where it's like, okay, I could just dash through it. I could just, like, bunny hop through it and, you know, not lose too much time. But if you do that every single time in every level, you are losing on literal tens of minutes in the run because there's so much in there. Oh, by the way, small thing. There's a button, like, right at the lip of this little ledge here. You can shoot it from behind because its hitbox extends behind the wall. They just made that hitbox slightly too big. This boss fight is going to be quick. What Massive is going to do here is cycle Grenade, Blood Punch, Heat Blast, all 3 of those to get 3 free stuns on the Doom Hunter, getting it out of its first phase. It won't be able to react, is what I'm saying, so look at that. Blood Punch, and first phase is done. Now, you may be wondering how you deal with the second phase. Lock-on rocket launcher is really strong, as we said. Just unload all your rockets. Right there, there's the tactical double grenade power-up pickup. Oh, spoiler, 2 Doom Hunters show up. So we're basically going to have as much stun as possible so that we can cycle stun of each of their first phases. Just like, oh, but he's taking a lot of damage. See, that's one of the risky parts about this encounter specifically, is that there's so many enemies firing at you from every direction, and you just have to ignore them because any second you're trying to do to make the arena safer is a second that you're not spending killing the boss. Dude, okay, so first off, cut speed. By the way, you may be wondering, wait, he cut speeded and then he teleported? No, the game just teleports you during this cutscene for whatever reason. But it also goes quick into Heat Blast, Precision Bolt, single heavy cannon shot, Glory Kill. Beautiful. Doom Eternal speedrunning, ladies and gentlemen. 5 HP there. That was one-shot protection. There is a mechanic in this game where if you are at a high enough damage health thresholds, the game will not insta-kill you with one attack. I'm sure if you play the classic Dooms, this happens a lot. Like, for example, the Cyber Demons, they have attacks that can sometimes do, like, I'm not joking, 120 damage. Now, when your max health is 100 health, well, without getting over health and all that crap, it can just instantly kill you. And everyone, I think unequivocally, I think will have the gut reaction of, I'm full health, how did that kill me? So in order to mitigate situations where people think that, if you're like above, I think it's like 65 HP or something or higher, the game will not kill you with one hit. It'll instead drop you down to some range between like 1 and 10 HP, somewhere around there. So that's what saved him there. Literally the game stopping and being like, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Like no time. And gets you mastery tick. Oh, that punch boost. Okay, now if you're wondering how much time to save that punch boost saves, not much. At the same time, you know how easy it is to fuck that up? You see him wiggle basically just to avoid hitting walls to bide enough time for gravity to take its course so that he can get low enough, use the double jump, all the way to this hallway into the secret encounter to make sure that he keeps at top speed. Ah! Oh, punch boost. I think I found this variation of routing. That being said, I didn't find the punch boost, but I did, like, do the routing and then people optimized it. I'm just having you know, this is my stream, people. I will point out every strat that I found because I'm, how to put it, egotistical. Oh, I didn't even talk about ballista boosting because, sorry, folks. But this ballista, it provides knockback whenever you fire it. So if you just turn around, that knockback speed becomes your forward speed. How does he flick 180? He just optimizes his mouse for that, or does he do a hospital flick with his wrist? Every 180 boost you see is just muscle memory. Basically, he's done enough 180 boosts in the past. He knows how much to flick his mouse in order to get about a 180, and then he can course correct because we picked up air control as the first rune. Your man should play Valorant. You may think that all this would translate into multiplayer games. And you're right, it does to some extent, but it's one thing shooting at an AI entity whose pattern is somewhat consistent that you have trained for thousands of hours, and a person you never met before who has erratic movement, of which you have to like play 5D mind chess to really predict how they'll move and whatnot. Because they'll have crouch spamming, they'll have side strafing, they could just do the unoptimal choice for the sole purpose to catch you off guard and then get you. The skills don't quite transfer over one-to-one. How do people train for specific sections of the run? Okay, Zeus for Earth. They do this very complicated strategy. It's not at all intuitive, so I completely get you for asking it. Of when they want to practice a specific section, they go to the specific section, and then they do it again and again and again and blah, 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 until it takes enough time to where it's burned into the back of their retinas. They can do it in their sleep. And then you move on to the next one, and you rinse and repeat until you get a time you're happy with for each section, and then you just start doing attempts. That's basically how it goes. And then this is just plugging in batteries. People were asking earlier about, do we have to watch all these slow battery animations? Yeah, you do. You'll see here, chains a dash boost into a ballista boost into a ramp hop. But he barely clips the stairs, otherwise it would have been sick movement. To break down the amount of interactions in that small moment. So 1 has to diagonal dash boost, 2 has to 180 the camera quickly to ballista boost, 180 it backwards, and then nail a bunny hop chain to get a ramp hop. All in the span of what? Half a second? What I'm saying is the amount of APM that this speedrunner requires is ungodly compared to a lot of runs. One of the best things about Destroyer Blade 2 is that we can charge it while going into a fight. So as soon as we get by this door, we start charging it, and look, it's fully charged as we get into position and kill like 3 things instantly. But this is a reroute of Art Complex where we do a strat called Convention Hug. Massive failed the initial strat and is going for a backup, basically. Oh, no! They failed the backup! See, like there, that lost like 10 seconds, which does eat into your time. This level is just difficult, honestly. But yeah, to get to that dash boost... Oh, fails the dash boost! No! Fails it 3, 4, 5. And then gets it like the 6th time. Sometimes you just get that mental block for 1 point in the run, and then it's just like 5 things after a row, and you're just like... Every runner here who's ran any game ever can relate to that wholeheartedly. Wait, sorry, I got so distracted by failing to skip, I forgot to explain it. Rewind. So right here, this is a strat called Convention Hug, which is basically a precise dash boost into a death plane. We are halfway through the level now. So we went from just getting outside to getting to halfway through the level to jumping all the way to the bridge, which skips the last half of the level. We now completed the whole level. Hentai skip. Yep, Violent Rose, that's what it's called. By the way, I named Hentai skip. That's my one badge of honor. I didn't find it. Well, the dude who found it called it Art Complex skip, but they're gone now, so want to change the name? I was like, yeah, sure, let's call it Hentai. And then it stuck. It just stuck. Hentai skip lore is wild, yeah. Big Sausage Skip was originally called Big Dick Skip, but that was discovered around the era of Break the Record Live when we had a Doom Eternal event going for that. That was found like right before it, so we're like, oh, the commentators need to explain this, but not call it Big Dick Skip, because it's ESA. They don't like too much provocative commentary, so people kind of met it in the middle and say, okay, we'll call it Big Sausage Skip. I think, honestly, the dick metaphor for sausage is what caused inspiration for many runners after to just name skips after food. Like, we got pineapple skip, we got Moroccan spice chicken with toasted vegetables, we got 8-ounce ribeye with a pack of Marlboro Reds. Like, we got a bunch of food names, I think, all becomes of that one dick metaphor. So all that's left after here is the boss fights. You see here, we only have 1 out of 10 combat rating, and we're at the end. This is all done to get fast travel, just so that we can travel through the whole level, skip a few cutscenes, skip a few unneeded movement sections. Treat Art Complex like it's Breath of the Wild. It's an open world exploration game with a few fast travel points. And look at that. Marauder killed. Marauder, for some reason, has its like AI programmed to look at where the ice bomb is, so that if it gets hit by it, is be like, no, I blocked it. For some reason, it's utmost priority. So while it's trying to block the ice bomb, we can just shoot it in the back. They, of course, patched that out because, I don't know, some id developer didn't think that was fun. Hold on. Mods. Is this considered a task? Because there's an on-screen timer, allowing the speedrunner to know if they are on pace, and thus what strats they may or may not have to do. I think this run should be considered invalid, and the runner banned for hacking and chats. Yeah, and honestly, I'll deny it right after this, no worries. So what AbsoluteMassive does here is fire the Destroyer Blade, opens the weapon wheel, and then you see this heavy cannon thing? He'll swap that from micro missiles to precision bolt, mid-firing animation, and look at the consequences of doing that. A second Destroyer Blade. If you're wondering why that happens, we don't fucking know. The best guess we have is that when you're in the firing animation of the Destroyer Blade, it runs a check to see if it's fired, and when you swap mods, that resets kind of the function to think like, oh frick, the Destroyer Blade didn't fire, but it's in a firing animation. Whatever shall we do? And then it fires it as a failsafe. Like for the ballista, the mod attachments, etc., are in the new modded client on Steam. Theoretically, someone can dig into the code and figure out how that works. It's just nobody has done it yet. If anyone has the knowledge of game programming or anything and wants to figure that out and explain it to me, I'm just saying, DMs are open. So, oh, I didn't realize there was an okay, so this strat's called airplane skip because there's like a fuselage of an airplane here. I thought you had to do the ballista boost, but no, you can just jump on some collision and then go up. Huh. That variation of airplane skip is really only possible when you fast travel here. Really? So that's why it wasn't found for the longest time. Thanks, Quarth, with the knowledge. Oh, because you fast travel, basically the trigger never initiates. Ah, that's neat. Didn't realize there was a trigger for the trigger. It's triggers all the way down, just like turtles. So the reason why airplane skip is optimal is that there's normally a bunch of stairwell fights in this game. The stairwell fights, they block progress, but they aren't tracked by the demonic corruption meter. This skip allows us basically to hit the trigger to spawn an enemy so that we can do a fight later, but also skip those hallway fights. Now, this is a big thing to keep in mind in Art Complex, is the concept of spawn cap. The game can only have like a limited number of demons spawned at any given time. It's about 32, I think, for this game, or 31 plus the Slayer at the same time. And we skip despawn triggers throughout the whole level because we're fast traveling, we're doing all this hot girl shit. So in this encounter particularly, these demons are not required to go to the rest of the level. However, they're taking in spawnable slots in future combat encounters, though. So we gotta kill them so that the next encounters are actually faster. But yeah, in case you're wondering why he's ignoring all the fodder here, they are required to be dead by the end of the encounter. However, they'll infinitely respawn till the end of the encounter, so it's just not worth it to kill them because they'll just spawn anyways. That's just a waste of ammo, in other words. That being said, there is a strat, which I found, by the way, where you can short-circuit this fight, same way with the Exultia Slayer Gate. You can kill every enemy here before the final wave of Raktatron spawn in and cause the arena to end early. Only issue with that is that there's so much RNG when it comes to fodder spawns in this arena that it's super inconsistent. When I mean super inconsistent, I mean the odds of getting that skip, like when you do everything perfectly, are like less than 1 than 20. Like 5% chance at best, maybe. Wait, I found Spiderless? Yeah, by complete accident one day. I was just trying to find out, I was testing routing for this encounter one day, and I just got that situation by happenstance. And I was like, what the fuck happened? And I immediately shared it. Oh, one small thing you may have seen all throughout Art Complex, we have to pick up the Elena Richardson VODs, which are not tracked in the end of level trigger, but they are tracked in the codex. So these are the only non-tracked collectibles in like the levels that we have to get, and they're all in Art Complex. This is another great example of trading speed for mastery ticks. Look at how many zombies are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7 zombies there. It only takes 1 pellet to kill a zombie. You can get up to 7 meat hook shot masteries here by just shooting these guys. And is that worth it to go through this hallway slightly slower? A lot of us would argue yes, just because it's so many mastery ticks for literally 1 shotgun shot. Oh, I forgot to mention, because we just shot a hole into the surface of Mars, we have the BFG now. So this encounter, which is almost entirely timer dependent, as in the only difference between Wave 2 and Wave 3 spawning is just a timer that counts down. So what Massive is doing here is getting some mastery ticks, killing some enemies, getting some chainsaws to make sure ammo is filled for the next area. And then when the last wave begins to spawn, BFG jumps off the side of the arena. As the little cutscene being like, oh, here's the exit of the arena, get there. He uses this to cut speed straight to the secret encounter. And then, of course, the secret encounter just doesn't spawn in all the enemies right away, because why the fuck would it? So while the timer is counting down to spawn in all the enemies for the secret encounter, grabs a Praetor token, kills the Revenant, those enemies, blah, 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 and the Spectre at the end of the hallway. Okay, one thing you'll notice here, AbsoluteMassive has 80 ammo in the Destroyer. In order to Destroyer Blade, you need 50 ammo. 50. He only has 80 here. So that implies that if he wants to double Destroyer Blade, he'd have to have 100 ammo. What? Nah, that's 2 fully charged Destroyer Blades. We're basically getting 2/3 of a charge for free. So we're grabbing the BFG into a ramp hop all the way to the next collectible. And then while we're moving off a jump pad, just because we can't really speed it up, just get an Arbitic while doing it. I say that this is one of the best speedruns of all time. It's because of downtime optimization. You can always do something to help you progress your goal. If you can't beat the game faster, well, you can probably make progress to 100% at that time. So, Marauder, this is called a fun zone. Now, normally we could Ice Bomb and all that grab, but it turns out if you stand at a perfect range from when a Marauder spawns, it will always do the counterable attack first. Like, literally always. And look, there's going to be Barons that spawn in that are the last wave, but another double Destroyer Blade into a BFG, and they're dead. If you're wondering why Massive looks down here, it's to save frames. You can see at the top how he has like 210 FPS. The more frame rate you do, the more frame rate you have, the more damage the BFG does. However, time slow is kind of an exception. They kind of hard-coded the fix in that game. So the best we can do to get the max damage out of BFG is just look down or try to higher that FPS as much as possible. And Doom Hunter into BFG. BFG kind of just makes some encounters like that trivial as fuck. Oh, by the way, I want to point it out. Cut speed into Arbalistic, into Yeet Hook, into a ramp hop, into another Arbalistic, into the exit portal. Distracted? Did you talk about getting ammo upgrade refills, BNG? Ah, good point, actually. Let me rewind. So, the reason why we go back to grab this Sentinel Crystal after the Slayer Gate is because we pick up this ammo upgrade. When you're out of BFG ammo, picking up an ammo crystal will refill your BFG ammo, as well as the rest of your ammo. That's why we don't get ammo upgrades early, even though that means we'd have to chainsaw less. It's just that getting free BFG shots later in the run saves more time. Remember how you have to take an elevator up here? No. What you got to do is limit your FPS to 33 FPS, scroll back 3 separate times, and then edge boost into a ballista boost. It's just that much more simpler than an elevator, dude. Gladiator. What you'll see here is basically a very precise setup to 1 cycle. Now, fun fact, they patched out this 1 cycle on later patches. You'll see how every firing animation that Massive does here isn't exactly for more damage. It's actually to temporally space out when he should, like, BFG, when he should shoot at him, and when he should get damage. If you look here, so he quickly goes to the side, SSG, PB, SSG. If he walks backward immediately after that point and fires the BFG, that will perfectly hit his counter window. Chainsaw cancels to cancel the BFG animation. SSG, PB, SSG, SSG, PB. And then, oh, he fails the slob a little bit. Yeah, normally you're supposed to do a technique called a slob, which is basically a way to fire a rocket and then immediately start a lock-on after. But you can see here how he only goes 1 rocket, doesn't immediately lock on. Slightly fucked it up. Still does a lot of damage, is able to back up by yeet hooking off a gargoyle, and then just shoot the fuck out of him from the top. Because, believe it or not, he won't, like, aim it vertically up and down to block your shots. He can only do it, like, vertically. Feel free to use it at home. That still happens on Curd Patch. You can just hook off a demon, shoot at the Gladiator from above if you want to. So, the Gladiator, he will do certain attacks when you're a certain distance away. So, Massive will dash in, bait an attack to where he can shoot him during. He will put up a shield animation, but while he's doing the shield, he charges a Destroyer Blade while getting close to him, constantly taking damage over time from the mace shield thing. And that's only to bait him out of that shield state sooner, so that he can double Destroyer Blade him and then lock him on to death. Now, when the Gladiator reaches certain HP thresholds, he will spawn in waves of demons to help him fight. So after that double Destroyer Blade, he will constantly just lock on the Gladiator, constantly getting him into that state to where he can spawn in demons, because when he spawns in demons, you can still shoot the fuck out of him. And so, boop, 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 and look at him. He's low HP and still has to spawn in demons, and he's in Glory Kill, and he only did like 1 mace shield cycle for that whole fight. That's basically as perfect as you can get. Although you will see that strategy rides the line fucking close. 12 HP. So, is that strat dangerous? Yes. Is it fast? Also yes. The weapon that loses the most amount of time mastering is the Arbalest. Because Arbalest is actually slow, all things considered, like if you include like Arbalest charge up time and whatnot. Because why would we charge up the Arbalest when we could just like rocket SSG insta-kill a Kako? Unironically, a runner has theorized that it's faster to actually master sticky bombs instead of Arbalest. It's just no runner uses that route technically. One small thing you'll see, this was discovered back in the days of Zero Master and Draku by I don't know who, but where you can basically just double up this Archvile encounter and the secret encounter. And because we have a BFG that kills most everything in an encounter, we just double them up and then BFG. Nobody will remember this, but I remember this vividly because I lived through it. The mindset of Ultra Nightmare speedrunners back in the day when Doom Eternal came out was dog shit. Allow me to explain. I remember distinctly in one run Draku was doing that he was at this encounter and he's like, oh, man, should I go for that secret counter Kako double up strat? Nah, man, it's too risky. The mindset of the runners at the time wasn't, let's practice the strat so I can do it at runs. It was, I'm in a run. Oh, wait, there's a strat I could do. Should I do it? Should I attempt it for the first time live during a world record pace run? UN runners were like, practice? What is that? I'm just gonna wing attempts on the first try in a run. Like, we have evolved so much in this community, I'll just say. Yeah, this BFG strat right there, super precise. Because we're trying to time the explosion right as this guy spawns, which will knock him out of the sled. Boom, like that. Oh, you see that elevator? It takes time going down. So trigger the elevator, kill 2 enemies to farm ticks, and then jump down it when it's about to get to the ends. That's just time efficiency, baby. Oh, in case you don't know, there's normally a target here you have to shoot to open this gate after this whole water puzzle. But if you shoot a hit scan weapon through a water surface, or an enemy actually, it counts too, the bolt will just go on for forever. It's basically some collision detection system to make sure that precision bolt pierces, is that if it hits an enemy, it makes sure it extends infinitely beyond that so that it can get everything behind it. Like, that's an individual check. And it also applies to water surfaces. And then you might be asking, well, why does it also apply to water surfaces? You'd have to ask an id developer that. That's a bit beyond my scope. Can you do the water trick in current patch? Yeah, no, the water trick is doable. They actually tried fixing the water trick patch. Some developer didn't like it, but then that also caused other bugs with the precision bolt, with the ballista, and all that stuff. It ended up being so much more buggy that they just reverted it. Everyone unequivocally hated it. The little Telltale Games thing appeared at the top left of id developer's screen saying the speedrun audience did not like that, and they reverted it. Yep, another edge boost using 31 FPS, 3 scroll ticks back, blah, 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 blah. It's so heckin' weird, dude. I don't know. I kind of like, at the end of the day, there's a way to consistently do edge boosts that we found by limiting FPS and scrolling ticks. But at the same time, like, if all these tricks require frame rate manipulation, require us to use these outside programs to do that, at that point, aren't we kind of just playing the physics engine, not the game? I feel like what you should do for a speedrunner is just boot the game, have it all in one go, and have, you know, as little as outside stuff as possible. You can set up edge boosts from a precise tap. Like, that stuff is cool because it all depends on, like, your muscle memory and whatnot. But now you just take that skill away from that. You gain consistency, but you lose kind of skill expression, you know? I guess that's in the summary of why I don't value that. And then this encounter, these 2 enemies instantly kill the Dread Knight. And the reason we chainsaw the Cybermech is not because it's faster, because Dread Knight and Cybermech take about the same amount to kill in Ice Bomb. But if you chainsaw a Cybermech from the front, it actually explodes the Cybermech, dealing damage to nearby fodder, possibly killing them. And then it's just like a Prowler. And look. Instantly done. Double Arbalest. Double Arbalest is in this route. Frick, I forgot. Now, 2 Arbalests, provided that they don't headshot, are a glory kill state on a Pain Elemental, which is just the quickest way to set up into glory kill. Sheesh, that skipped my mind. Wow. What's considered a headshot on the Pain Elemental? Good point. You see the eye that we stab it in? This eye is its headshot hitbox. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, him, like, aiming directly at the face of the pain elemental makes me a little scared, because it's just like, oh, dude, if you accidentally shoot the eye, you just don't get that glory kill challenge. That's a 99% run. Your run's no longer leaderboard official. Get the frick out of here, dude. Oh, by the way, Crucible. Yeah, you know the Crucible. You're watching a Doom Eternal speedrun stream. You know what the Crucible... Use it to kill the most annoying demon on the field. That's basically what it is. There's some tech later, but we'll get into that. You may notice that all the ammo of the Crucible is just spread around the arena. The time it takes to move and pick up Crucible charges is just... It's too long in comparison to just sending a lock-on burst at an enemy. So yeah, we only use it when something's like basically directly in our path. I should also mention that this is like one of the hardest Slayer gates in the run, but because you pick up the BFG and we do this slightly out of order, you know, with grabbing the Crucible and everything, we can just insta-kill. Like, look, bunch of whiplashes, instantly dead. There's gonna be a Cyber Demon that spawns, instantly dead because of Crucible. Then it's just 2 max. Yeah. Why does nobody do my Crucible routing here? I'm sorry, but, like, if you move, like, the same way throughout the previous arena, you can always have, like, the 3 closest Crucible ticks just ready for pickup, which is there, and there. And you can just do a quick loop, but instead it's a bigger loop. Come on! Big circle equals more time loss. Do small circle. I'm not skipping these people. This is riveting content. Are you telling me you aren't on the edge of your seat right now watching all these batteries gone? Oh, dude, it's so good. There's so much magical speed tech going on here that I really need to break it down, soak it in, and just experience. Analyze the battery movement. Well, you see, first he inserts it, and then he twists. If you're a fan of Doom, you're a fan of the battery animation. But yeah, no, one small thing, there's actually an optimization to the battery animations that Massive isn't doing. Battery insertion area, battery insertion port, battery insertion port. What you're supposed to do is after you battery insert this one, you instantly battery insert this one. This is because the door takes a little bit of time to open, so you can spend that time doing the battery animation for a little bit of overlap. You know how much time save that saves if done optimally? Like 0.2 of a second. You can only do that twice. So AbsoluteMassive is losing 0.4 of a second. These battery animations. Free world record. Yeah, I know. Again, there is a bounty for finding a way to skip these battery insertion cutscenes to grab the collectible behind it. If you can figure that out through some wild trick kerfuffery, you'll get some money. How high is the bounty? It's $100 if you're able to find any way to skip the battery animation. If you can find a skip that is restricted viable, as in it doesn't require any out of bounds, any clipping, etc., it moves up to $200. After 5 years, nobody's found a way to skip the battery animations. Dude, this game is like, it's built together by hopes and dreams. It's honestly, it only works by the miracles of people's thoughts and prayers. We got death planes clipping through floors. We got death planes clipping through walls. We have just straight up no invisible wall blocking progress to the end of the level at points. But the battery animations, god damn it, they just have to be watched. They're too integral to the story, man. You won't notice it. But I appreciate this, because, like, projectiles take time to get their targets, so it would take a rocket, it would take a grenade, it would take a bunch of stuff very long to hit them. So what he just does is 2 hit scan precision bolts into a ballista, so there's no travel time for the insta-kill. Literally optimizing bullet travel time. Most 50% of the crusher ticks here. Oh, energy shield vacation! Basically, energy shield vacation, if you hold down the alt fire as you punch with the energy shield out, the game gets confused and thinks you're still holding down the alt fire, even if you swap weapons from that punch animation to something else. So it's like, oh, it's still keeping the energy shield stayed up as we swap to the BFG and fire it in a safe location, making sure we don't get shot the entire time. Energy shield vacation isn't used, like, often, mainly just because if you use the energy shield vacation, it breaks. Your hitbox is still the size of the energy shield, but without the energy shield's HP pool protection. So it ends up with you just getting hit a lot more, and it can extend a little bit after until, like, your hitbox resets. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, energy shield, it's unequivocally the best mod attachment in the game for defense. In the campaign, it protects you from every damage source in a 360-degree angle. You're perfectly safe, with the exception of some floor attacks. Cybermanku, Archvile Fire, will eat through your energy shield and deal damage to you, because that's just how those attacks are programmed. Oh, is the Cybermank like a consistent crusher spawn? Yeah, it makes sense, because Mancubi, they have a very common attack animation, which is just the waddle forward, you know, doing the tango while firing and blasting. That's That's cute in a way I didn't expect, you know? One small thing you may notice. Meat Hook Mastery, 48 out of 50. Because of a strat we have for a level challenge in the next level, Necrovol Part 2, we need this mastered. So 2 ticks going into the final encounter before Necrovol Part 2, where he is required to have it mastered for a strat. It is... These margins are short. See, if you're wondering why you needed the Meat Hook Mastery, it's because it lights demons on fire, and this level starts you off with full health and armor. So now we have to kill multiple enemies with Blood Punch. At this point, we have unlocked an upgrade for our runes called Armor for Blood, which means if you get armor when you have max armor, it'll instead contribute to filling your Blood Punch gauge. And I'm just going to quickly move myself up here so you can see the blood fuel meter. So instantly off, Flame Belch, Blood Punch. That's 1 tick for the blood fuel challenge. Actually have to go a little bit slow because if we hit this cutscene, we won't absorb the armor. Go into this area. Get a couple shots on the mecha zombie just for the purposes of lowering it so it will die to a blood punch. Armor stacks to refresh blood fuel gauge. Ice bomb plus armor to refuel blood fuel gauge because we also have health for blood, which also refills blood fuel gauge if we have max health and pick up health. Then we go here again, another tick on that, and we have 4 out of 5, which is basically perfect. And now that we have the haste power-up, Overdrive, its legal name. Overdrive gives you unlimited ammo while you're firing it for every weapon except the BFG. And we picked up the Unmaker, which uses BFG ammo, but isn't the BFG counter, and you can just, like, spray and pray and basically kill everything. That tech is now patched? Yes, that has been patched. id Software found that unfun for whatever reason. That was its one niche use in which it was undeniably better than the BFG. And they took it away. Because the Unmaker, sure, it's a power weapon, it's all that stuff, but is it the same effectiveness as a free room clear? Like, literally, any wave of an encounter that you hate or struggling with, you press 1 button and it's instantly deleted. You can't beat that. Like, that is just too strong. Like, a lot of major BFG crashes, but it still occasionally happens. Oh, out of bounds. This is super risky. We need to get an Archvile glory kill from the left side here. It's a level challenge, and he's right now close to the wall. If the Archvile was just slightly too angled to where its left side was being covered by the wall, this glory kill would be impossible. So, up here. Very important thing, he mantles the ledge, does not go any further, does not take 1 more step further. Instead, shoots out the eye, hits a death plane. You know why that happens. Like, circularly around this area, that's a cutscene trigger. To basically point to the eyeballs, be like, hey, idiot, you need to shoot the eyeballs, come on. You can actually shoot them from Manslane, then you drop down, spawn outside the trigger so the cutscene never plays, saving you a few seconds. Oh, by the way, precise glory kill setup. If you fail that, by the way, there's not another one in the level. Make sure you get that or you have to lose 20 seconds Alt F4 and resetting. Oh, there's the Baron. One thing that's very, very scary about this is you gotta kill this Baron after the Kako spawn, or else the encounter will fuck up. Fun fact, on current patches, it will soft lock the arena. That's actually a glitch that they patched in. What's a soft lock? For people who don't understand that nomenclature, it basically means the run is uncontinuable. You cannot continue the run because you've locked yourself out of completing it. So look at this. So he crucibled the Doom Hunter sled, which normally deposits charge, but if you look right here, he still has 2 out of 3. He had 2 out of 3 before. And because there's no animation for that crucible, he cancels it by swapping to a weapon mid-swipe. For whatever reason, if the crucible animation does not complete when it affects an enemy, you just don't waste a charge. So we do that in situations like with Doom Hunter sleds and Kali boss eyes, because those aren't considered enemies and they don't die from that. And just insta-killing the Doom Hunters, we move on to Urdak, which, Urdak is awesome. I love Urdak. It's arguably the best level in Doom Eternal Speedrun. I have a whole video on it where I do in-depth breakdown, so I don't think I'll go as in-depthy as that, but you can just watch my Urdak video. Look at this movement. Precise bunny hopping, ballista movement, all that stuff, air strafing, 180 moves, chaining. Oh, by the way, these big orange rings, the orange rings give you speed for a set duration. If you dash during that duration, it keeps your speed, but redirects it. So we're taking all that ring movement, stacking it with ballista movement, going all the way to the ends. He's just farming Macro Missiles Mastery, and then when the encounter's about the end, goes all the way to the end of this little tube by the ends, fires a BFG so that he can be near the end of where he needs to go, as that encounter died. Because if you went there way too early, like a despawn trigger would basically just despawn the encounter and he wouldn't get combat rating. This blue ring encounter is quite easy. It's just a Destroyer Blade and a Marauder if all goes according to plan. Oh, you won't notice. Super small things. There is a bug with the Marauder that was intentionally left in because the devs thought it funny enough. If a projectile is going towards the Marauder, it'll try to block it with its shield. This applies not only to your projectiles, but also any demons that it fires through. So right before this Marauder spawns, he's making sure to shoot the shield soldiers behind him, because they'll likely fire at you, making the Marauder block. So to get rid of that inconsistency, he's like, nah, get the frick out of here. And then shoots them, so that he doesn't get any weird shield block kerfuffery that messes with the AI. It's a small little optimization to improve consistency. So this is called Daddy Skip. It's basically, normally we'd have to hit a button, we'd have to plug Daddy into the main center of heaven in order to, I don't know, open the path to the next area. We're not going to do that because that cutscene is long, about 10-15 seconds. So instead, it's just a ballista boost chain into a bunny hop chain, into bouncing off the blue ring, into going into the next encounter. Because that's way simpler than plugging Daddy into the mainframe. But it's not over yet, because immediately after we start spawning in this encounter, we leave it. Now, the reason why is that encounter, the only thing that determines whether or not it gets into its final wave state is a timer that counts down. So we'd have to wait there if we just stood in that arena. So let's do something else. Like, I don't know, hook all the way to the fucking purple ring and do that fight instead. Fight is also heavily timer dependent too. As soon as that tyrant is dead, that's about perfectly timed, where he energy shield vacations and then fires the BFG to clear it. But by the time we fire this BFG, the timer on that previous encounter, that's done too. So they will kill this encounter and slowly traverse the area while that cutscene plays into the other encounter, killing that one. 2 birds, 1 stone. This encounter is very particular too, because we have to kill all these trigger demons to get the next wave to spawn in. And after we kill this Baron, the only thing separating the final wave from spawning in is a timer. So we do the other thing of do something while that timer's counting down and go straight to the orange ring. Woo. That encounter isn't finished, but don't worry, we'll be back for that later. So Meat Hook conserves momentum. He's zigzagging around like a snake to try to get through that door at max speed. Barely misses collision that would slow him down and bunny hops all the way to that gosh darn ring. This is one of those things where, yeah, it just kind of looks basic, but you don't know how hard it is to just get that bunny hop movement so right. Like, that is genuinely, like, a very hard part of the run. So, as we return to this encounter, there's no pathway to easily get out, but we have yeet hooking and this Kako here. That Kako is required for the encounter, though, so shoot it on the way out, obviously. Oh, does he do the dolphin strat? Yeah, dolphin! Dolphin is basically a precise setup of the water lowers as soon as you break this wall. So he sets up in a precise position, dashes forward to break the wall, then immediately dashes backwards, putting himself above the water level of where it originally is while he's spamming jump the whole time. That gets him in the air, gets him his double jump, and gets him straight to this button. Starting to think this AbsoluteMassive guy is pretty good at the game. Yeah, he's a little good, just a little. This run isn't that impressive, to be honest. Literally anybody could do this. They just have to put in an enormous amount of study, practice, have insane talent, top-tier aim, and be able to adapt on the fly. True. Although, unironically, it is literally just study and practice. And study and practice leads to the rest of the stuff on the list, Raffle. How do you get the insane talent? How do you get the top-tier aim? How are you able to adapt on the fly? Well, you build those skills by studying and practicing. Who would have frickin' thought? All the other levels had collectibles. All the other levels had stuff that you had to stop by, make sure you had to grab in order to do, you know, get 100%. Final Sin only has 1 collectible. The rest of it is just combat and movement. But yeah, you'll look here. Destroyer Blade, you don't believe how precise that is. That Destroyer Blade kills that Revenant and also a few fodder behind it, all of which required for the next wave to spawn. And it is just sick-ass movement. It carries a Destroyer Blade into this counter, which basically clears it outside of, like, 3 demons. And look, there's the only collectible. Goodbye. Because we're at the end of the game, we're using BFGs like candy. We have a lot of BFG ammo, and there's a lot of BFG pickups. So the more BFGs, less fighting you have to do. You know, time save stonks are escalating heavily. Oh, messed up the boost slightly. That's cool. is able to still get the movement, pick up the gosh darn Crucible on the way, double Destroyer Blade into picking up a BFG, pick up into the BFG. And that's the whole first wave of the encounter done, and there's just a couple of Tyrants. A buff totem, of which he knows exactly where it is, and now it's the final wave, which is just fodder, clear up in a couple Kakos and Pinkies. And look at that, done. That's one of the biggest combat encounters in the fucking game, people. This right here, positioning, where he's looking, all that stuff's important. As soon as he sees the checkpoint lows, dash back to set up a yeet hook into a cutscene, which despawns an invisible wall, and if all goes according to plan, he's at the end of the fucking level. And then, because we're about to enter the final boss fight, we're going to upgrade everything that you see here that we haven't upgraded before. Because of mastery tokens, half these weapon challenges just don't matter. And the final boss is so trivial that we can actually farm for some masteries while it's happening. So if you are low on masteries at that point, genuinely, it could be so tense because you have to make sure you get them done before the credits start rolling, or you beat the game. That's basically just an Ultra Nightmare completions. It's not 100% if you don't get them. So see, he's basically killed all the body parts of the Icon of Sin, so now he's mastering them. He has 5 ticks to go, which is doable as heck. But you see there, so shield launches mastery. You have to deal damage while the energy shield is open. It doesn't require that you fire anything from the chain gun. So you just fire the BFG beforehand, and before it hits the icon, open up your energy shield. So bam. 2 BFGs at 2 body parts, holding up the energy shield, and it's instantly mastered. It's, unironically, the freest mastery in the game. Now he has to destroy all these body parts. He's getting very close to the end. Still has to do the micro missile mastery. Do you see how close that was? Like, okay, as soon as this animation ends, the game's over. He's at 14 out of 15. Barely gets the last micro missile on that Revenant. Like, I'm not joking. Like, a pixel's worth of difference in his aim trajectory could have made the difference there into not completing it. But then, bam, 100%. Clutch as fuck final frickin' tick right there. Holy man. And then you just see a bunch of GGs in the chat, which, to be fair, after that ending, that is hype as fuck. But this game has come a long ways in the 5 years. I was there at the beginning, okay? Then I got washed and quit the game and focused on other crap because I'm bad. This game has evolved to so much mastery in so little time at every possible instant. And look at their sum of best. 135. There can still be 3 minutes saved in this run. So it's still possible to get 136? Yes. However, it would take an insane amount of execution, luck, and just overall a sheer number of attempts. And I mean, so many freaking hours of attempts to get that. I kind of wonder if Dark Ages will have that much of a steep, like, drop-off. Will we just keep finding stuff to make it lower than even possible? I hope so. I hope the game has a lot of fun surprises. Eternal? There's just so much good shit that's going on. It's unreasonable to expect the same standard out of the next game. It's kind of like how Baldur's Gate 3 ruins every other game besides that because it's just so good by comparison, you know? And if you like this video, what the hell is wrong with you?